Hi, it's Shannon from Uphill Battle Health. I hope you enjoyed parts 1 and 2 of our trip to Portland's VegFest. We had so much footage from Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, her lecture, and visiting with her at her booth, that we decided to give her her own video. If you aren't familiar with Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, she's an amazing vegan author and speaker, and just an all-around wonderful advocate for the animals. So here you go.
Probably craving fat and salt and probably some familiarity, and I go, you know, you're right, because I remember the time I had a veggie burger that my friend made for me, and I had the avocado and the ketchup and the onions and the relish, and it was just, yeah, it was great, because it had the fat and the salt and the familiarity, right? So when you can get people to just kind of shift a little bit, to think a little differently about it, and if they are indeed craving fat, I keep saying craving, my quotation marks, then we could have an avocado, we could have have guacamole, we could have some nuts, we could have some nut butter, we could have some seeds. I mean, there are so many ways to get fat, but not from the animal products. The problem is we were told that it's the meat, dairy, and eggs that we want, not that it's the fat, salt, familiarity, flavor, and texture that we want. And so we go right for the familiar rather than saying, no, it's salt. I'll just put a little salt on my food, or it's familiarity, or it's the texture, it's the flavor, right? Anybody have spices in their house, right? Anybody have dust collecting on those spices, the little tops, right? Right, and so then you get people who spice, and people say, oh, I tried vegan food, but it's a little bland, like I just want some flavor in your food. And I say, really, what do you flavor your hot dogs with? What do you flavor your hamburgers with? You flavor it with the onions and the relish and the barbecue sauce and the ketchup and the mustard. Those are plants. We flavor our meat with plants, okay? Because the flavor is in the plant foods. So if it's flavor, use those spices. Use the spices, use the herbs, right? Because ultimately that's where the flavor is. So those are some more just excuses we use. And we need to be able to talk back to each other and say, no, that's not what it is. Here's what it is, and here's how you can then solve it. Identify what the craving is and then meet it with plant foods. Does that make sense? And then you get people who say things like, I get it. I saw a video. I don't want to be part of it. I don't want to contribute to this. I could stop eating everything, but I could never give up X. And the X is usually cheese, right? You've heard that before. Interesting. I've heard that too. Amazing. We all hear the same things, right? I could give up everything, but I could never give up cheese. And I say, well, what are you eating now? And they say everything. And I said, well, you just said you could give up everything, but you could never give up cheese, so give up everything except for cheese. Start somewhere. It doesn't make any sense to do nothing because you think you have to do everything. And if you think you can't do everything, then you do nothing. That is complete self-sabotage. Don't do nothing because you can't do everything. Do something, anything. Every step we take will bring us closer to the people we say we want to be and to the animals we say we want to help. But to sabotage ourselves and not do anything at all because we think we have to do everything, it doesn't make any sense. And I think ultimately what happens is, related to that, is the biggest misconception about being vegan, and please, if there's anything you can walk away with today, walk away with this, is the biggest misconception about being vegan is that people think being vegan is an end in itself. They think it's the goal. Being vegan is not the goal. You don't get a certificate when you become vegan. And when you attach that kind of significance to that, when you think it's the end, you get hung up in the perfection, you get hung up in the purity of it, and you think that's what it's about. That's not what it's about. Being vegan is a means to the end. Being vegan is the means to the goal. And that goal is unconditional compassion and optimal wellness. That's the goal. Vegan is the way to get there, right? But ultimately, people get so hung up on it.
So, as far as influencing others to be vegan, okay, to make changes in their own life, like, a lot of people say, just be an example, But yet those same people haven't, like all their friends and family, like none of them are vegan. So how is that the best way?
Well, so it depends. I mean, it depends on what you do when you just say be an example. Is it enough to just like be vegan? Not necessarily. So one of the first things I would say though is backing up. You said, how do you influence people to be vegan? You don't. You plant seeds so that you're speaking for this thing called veganism, which is the best means to compassion that we have. Because if you in any way have any attachment to wanting them to be vegan based on what you say or do, you're already in a place of failure in the sense that you can't but succeed if your intention is to plant seeds. You can't do anything but succeed. But if your intention is to convert people or change people or inspire them to be vegan, there's so much pressure in you. And then you have all of this feeling of failure or not, right? When if the intention is just, I'm going to be the best voice I can be and the best ambassador I can be, it doesn't mean you just be an example of just like, okay, I'm vegan, so now this should rub off on you. So you still speak about it. You still have an intention to inspire, but you're not attached to the outcome. And that is a huge difference. And you see shifts and you see a difference in the way people react to you when your whole thing is, look, blah, blah, whatever it is. Hey, I'm here to just, in your mind, plant seeds. People are like, well, what do you mean? Like, what is that about? Versus, I'm here with an agenda, and then people go, they can feel it even if you don't say it. So it starts here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing from Colleen. One of my favorite things about her is that she always approaches veganism with logic and common sense. So we really learned a lot from her there that weekend. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.